Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ. My name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening PIB videos they come. Both in Hindi and English language you get these lessons, and I hope you are following each and every lesson because important MCQs and their deep explanations we are discussing here on a daily basis. Around 5 questions are there in this particular video, and in the PIB video there are another 5 to 6 questions. So on a daily basis 10 to 11 questions we are discussing here, and this has become a very important compilation till now, I think, and it will get bigger and bigger till the examination because around 50 days are left. So we will discuss many more questions in these days, and we will cover most important part of the current affairs and the important static portion questions which are based on that. And I always tell this that MCQs and their explanations, that is the best approach for prelims, especially because you remember things in an isolated way, you read for the specific details, and these things you can easily recall in the examination day, because recalling is the most important process, and you can only be sure about the details in the examination hall if you have solved these important questions and you have gone through the important associated related information regarding that. Okay, so 13th of April, let's start the lesson. These are the important courses created by experts, selected people, and updated courses. Call on these numbers, visit the website, you can get them, and 60% off is also going on. MCQs that I gave to you yesterday, Smriti Mandhana, that she belongs to cricket. She is the cricketer of the year in the Wisdom's latest listing. Virat Kohli has been there consecutively for the 3rd year, and Smriti Mandhana, you also should not forget about her, because this country is mad about cricket. IPL is going on, so that becomes obvious that we know about the male cricketers and Virat Kohli and all these important players, but we should not forget about female players. They are equally important, and you see Indian cricket players, and especially the women's team, that has been performing tremendously well, and these cricketers from the women's team, they are also really very great. So Smriti Mandhana, she has got this award, so she belongs to cricket. Let's see which are the awards which she has won recently. Smriti Srinivas Mandhana, and 22 years old player, comes from Maharashtra, and she plays for the Indian women's national team, and Board of Control of Cricket in India, BCCI, named her as best women's international cricketer in 2018, and in the same year ICC, International Cricket Council, that has also awarded her with the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Award for the best female cricketer of the year. And now the Wisdom's leading cricketers of the 2018 list, that has been taught by Smriti Mandhana. So these are really inspiring details. Next, Hang Seng Index, it belongs to Hong Kong, and that is a very important territory of China. And Hang Seng Index, it has beaten Japan's topics. So D9 is the answer, because Hong Kong is not given here, and because of the internet giant Tencent holdings, this has performed tremendously well, and it has been a main driver with 22% gain. Japan's topics index, that was put behind by Hong Kong's the Hang Seng Index. So they may ask you questions regarding the topics, that which country is related with the topics index, or they may ask you about Hang Seng, they may ask you about Tencent holdings also, because it's an internet giant company, the 3rd largest company. Next, fund created by telecom operator. I made a mistake in this question because I did not give the context. This question, these statements were related to Universal Service Obligation Fund, USOF. This fund was created by Government of India, not by telecom operators. That is wrong, and it's a non-lapsable fund. That is correct. Lapsable fund means if some budget is given to a particular ministry or to a particular department after 1 year, if they are not able to use this fund totally, then the remaining amount, that would go back again to the treasury, and that is the phenomena of lapsable funds. And that is why there are a lot of transactions in the month of March, when that is the closing year. So many funds, these are released in the last March month, and that is called March rush. Okay, so that is a famous question. And you see, in the same way, there are non-lapsable funds which are added to the next year's funding. So non-lapsable funds categories there, and this fund USOF, that comes under this category, and it was created by Government of India, as I told you. Why? Because you see, in the rural areas there are very less commercial activities, and it becomes unviable for these telecom companies to give service to these areas, because there are very less people, the population density is not that much great, and there is no advertisements and all, and their important outcomes they don't see there, because very less people are living there. And when it comes to metropolitan cities, then they are earning fortunes there. So in this condition, this thing was observed by government, and when they came up with this particular 99 telecom policy, then they raised this particular USOF, Universal Service Obligation Fund, through Universal Access Levy, and this tax, that would be a percentage of the revenue earned by the operators, these telecom operators, under various licenses, that would be taken from them, and that fund would be used for these rural telecom services, so that they are also included under it. Otherwise, giving these mobile services and all other important services, that becomes unviable for these companies. Okay, so they had to amend Indian Telegraph Act for that, and they gave statutory status to this USOF under this Telegraph Act of 2003. It was passed by both the houses in December 2003, and importantly, this is going on. So they may ask you about Indian Telegraphs Act 1885, they may ask you about Telegraph Amendment Act 2003, and all these details. USOF is for the rural telecom sector. Okay. Next question, Realtel Corporation of India. It's a mini Ratna, not Navaratna. It's a mini Ratna, PSU of Government of India. And as the name says, Realtel Corporation, relation is with the Indian Railways. It provides broadband and VPN, virtual private network services. Virtual private network. They may ask you about the abbreviation. So that is correct, but it is not correct, because it is a mini Ratna category 1 PSU of Ministry of Railways. So these PSUs which are coming under a certain ministry, they are very important. Largest neutral telecom service provider in the country, owning a pan-India optic fiber network covering all important towns and cities of the country, and around 70% population is covered by Realtel. And it is in forefront in providing nationwide broadband, telecom and multimedia network in all parts of the country, in addition to modernization of train operations. And now see, recently when this Google Station program was released by Google, and it was providing Wi-Fi services and open public Wi-Fi services to important areas. So it joined hands with it, and now they are providing Wi-Fi services to India's railway stations, not the halting stations, the important main stations. And the project is called RailWire. RailWire is a retail broadband initiative of the Realtel only. It envisages extending broadband and application services to the public. Realtel is working to establish bringing fast and free Wi-Fi at all stations except the whole station within a year. So it was created as a goal, and now these are going on, and now more than 1600 I think stations are connected with the Wi-Fi connectivity. So the USOF fund that we discussed, Universal Service Obligatory Fund, that is also giving support to this particular project, the RailWire project. Okay, so they may ask you about this project, they may ask you about the Realtel PSU. Next, National Mission for Cleaning Ganga, NMCC. I'm sorry, I think by mistake I may have told you, I'm not sure, I may have told you that NGRBA was dismantled by the government in 2013. No, it was not 2013, it was actually 2016 when they came up with this new Ganga order, and they ended the important body NGRBA, and they came up with the Ganga Council. That is the most important body for the Ganga rejuvenation process. And till now 27,000 crore rupees they have been invested. First, when in 2011 this NMCC as a executive and implementation arm of NGRBA that came, that was registered under Societies Registration Act of 1860, and that was the most important body here. NMCC still exists, but now it complies to the Ganga Council, and there is a particular structure. It is established under Water Act? No, it is established under Environmental Protection Act of 1986. So that's important because it is related with the Ganga pollution, and pollution is the problem that we need to solve. That is why it is coming under Environmental Protection Act. And importantly, first statement is also wrong because it says it acts as implementation arm of NGRBA. It does not act now. It used to act. It not acts. Okay. Now, Cabinet approved this River Ganga Rejuvenation and Protection Management Order in 2016. It was cleared by Cabinet headed by Prime Minister, and order lays down a new institutional structure of policy and implementation in fast track manner. Remember, all these lines are important. And in a responsible and accountable manner. Importantly, these two words are important. This responsibility has a moralistic feature, accountability has a important governance feature in it. So these are crucial words for mains answering. Okay, so NMCC is given both these responsibilities. National Mission on Clean Ganga, so it still exists as an authority with the powers to issue directions and also to exercise the powers under the EPA Act 1986. And NMCC will have two-tier management structures with a governing council to be chaired by Director General, and below this governing council there would be executive committee. Okay, so these are important two-tier structure, management structures, and NMCC will comply with the decisions and directions of the National Ganga Council. This National Ganga Council actually replaced the NGRBA body. Okay, so that's most important. An empowered task force was created here, and you see before that NCRA, National Council for River Ganga, and NCR, that was that is actually chaired by Prime Minister. That is important. NGRBA was also headed by Prime Minister, and this NCR, National Council for River Ganga, NCG, I'm making a mistake again here, NCG, National Council for River Ganga, that is the highest important body, and that is headed by Prime Minister. An empowered task force is a different body chaired by Honorable Minister of Water Resource and River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. So these two important bodies are here, and this empowered task force is responsible for all these processes. Okay, on the state level there are going to be state Ganga committees, on the district level district Ganga committees are there. An act that is important is Environmental Act 1986. Okay, all the orders are given under the authority of it. Now these are words that I found, and now about the articles today. You see, we discussed about the Jallianwala Bagh incident and we discussed about the important historical learning, and as I told you that there is a dire need today that we go behind and we learn about the history in a neutral manner, in a logical manner, because history is not a story, and it is not a story to interpret in our suitable way. This is really wrong. This is extremely important because it talks about our experiences, our weaknesses, our important steps, what were the things that gave us boost, gave us confidence to rise against the injustice, and what were our lacks that brought these conditions when Jallianwala Bagh like incidents they happened, and we were killed in many numbers by ruthless powers. So that is why it's a dire need today, and especially for the youth. Many intellectuals, many scholars, they are urging this, that we should turn our head towards history, because our whole focus is on science studies, and there also when we reach up to university level, then we lose interest in that subject also, in science also, and we are no more productive there, as we used to be very productive 25 years back. But now we are not that much productive, and we are more hopeless because there are no jobs. So that is why we are hopeless in science almost all the times. If we talk about the rural areas or the small towns, and we are not performing in the areas of arts and literature and history. So history is given some focus here, so they may ask you a mains question regarding history also, based on our freedom struggle, based on our important social reform movements, or maybe the previous part of the history. So history is going to be important, and these kind of articles and these kind of incidents and these kind of commemorations, they become much more important because they give us this insight that we should always be aware about some things, what is happening all around us, what is the phase that our society is going through. Are there any kind of symptoms which are similar to those symptoms which brought these havocs in our past? So what you see here, at that time, as I discussed with you, the society was divided and some great things were there, as some great personalities were there, like Rabindranath Tagore. He was given the Nobel Prize. He was the Asia's first Nobel Prize winner, and he felt it responsible to write a letter and to ask for removal of the knighthood that was given to him by the British authorities, and he actually denounced all these awards. So that was really morally very responsible, and he wrote a letter to Gandhi on 12th of April, one night before the 13th April incident, because some things were symptomatic and they were happening before the 13th April incident also. Many people were killed on the Delhi street, and they had brought up this Roulette Act that was totally arbitrary, and it was putting curbs on all of our freedoms, and without a trial people were being put up behind the bars. So these symptoms the great leader understood, and he actually observed these things, and he wrote a very important, deep, meaning, intellectual, literary piece, and that letter was posted to Mahatma Gandhi, and he observed, he understood his particular meaning, and after that a phase started where mass protests, they became possible in India. Non-cooperation movement came in 1920. Hindu-Muslim unity was also there, and this area was very, very important. Punjab region was having a huge population of Muslims also, and Sikhs were also there, Hindus were also there. All were united against Britishers, and they were clear about the British intentions. So you see, always symptoms are there, and the moral responsibilities and these important understandings and the important communication between the important leaders and their moralistic behaviors, they actually take can take reins of a society, and they can lead it up to the independent levels where people are equal, people are responsible, people are educated, aware, and people are taking responsibility of the nation. And if we talk about the freedom struggle, then before independence we took this responsibility in a collective manner, and that is why the pressure amounted and Britishers had to leave this country. It was not only Gandhi, it was not only Bose, it was not only Congress, it was not only any particular group, it was the collective effort. So it is wrong to interpret that any person we are emphasizing here, everyone put its weight behind that, and they played their roles inside that. But collective force of the people of India, that was possible because of these inspirations and the understandings which came after these kind of incidents. So history tells us that we should not wait for these kind of disasters to happen. We should always remember that what were our lacks, and we should not repeat them. And after 50, 100 years, we should not forget these things. Okay, so the same things which are written here, and you see this article is not about understanding anything, it is about realization of a lot of things. The facts are given here, the writings are given here, and the writer says Gopal Krishnan Gandhi, he comes from Gandhi's family, he has been an important administrator, diplomat, and he talks about all positive things, and he highlights the importance of history many times, especially for the students. So that is why this piece of writing is very, very important. And this historical incident, all these happenings, all these series, they show us that how things are developed and what we should learn from these particular thing. What was the arrogance, and why we had to rise against these evil powers. So this is important. So you should read the details here. I have explained you the important background of it and what is important for us from the exam point of view. So GS paper 1 would be important here, and GS paper 4, there also you can get a lot of benefit. and because it is the issue of social harmony also, and social collective understanding also. So that is important. And one essay question or the essay topic can also be given to you, because it is not about only history, it is also about the moralistic behavior, it is also about a collective responsibility, it is also about a collective awareness, and it is also about how do we proceed. So essay topic is also very ripe here. These articles, this is some requests, some important happenings which are there. In the center there is Election Commission of India, and it says that many decisions are taken by Election Commission of India. These are appreciable, but some remains extremely problematic. And Election Commission of India, it is not taking decisions very actively against some very problematic things, very problematic violations in the model code of conduct. And these are people who are sitting on the highest authorities and who are passing these kind of statements. Those are really problematic. So any leader is there belonging to any party, Election Commission should take some tough steps here, and it should show in this democracy that it is here to uphold the democratic process, the fair election process, and it is not working in some kind of pressure or in some kind of biased manner, because these allegations are really problematic. Election Commission of India is having a status of God these days, because our future, that is in hands of these leaders. Whatever they are going to decide about this country, that will be justified this or the other way. And that is why Election Commission's duty, its responsibility is of highest level, and taking important steps and giving harsh punishment to these violators, and maybe it has to cancel their eligibility also. Then only we can say that the Election Commission is fair. Otherwise these allegations are really not in favor of a good future. Okay, so that is the thing given here. All these parties and all, their description is given, and we will not go behind these political statements and all. But certainly the Election Commission of India is a constitutional body, and Article 324 is related to elections and this process and these Election Commission of India. And the model code of conduct, that is actually a moral code of conduct, we may say, that should be upheld at any cost, and fast decisions it should make, because it is taking a lot of time, and this election phases, they are going on very fast, and it should not happen like that after elections they are taking some steps and things are having no value after the time is gone. Next, seeing the darkness. This issue is related again to the black hole picture that was taken, and as I told you, we will discuss those issues in Sunday's lesson. Tomorrow's lesson is going to be very important. It will talk about the planets, solar body, solar system, and the black hole, the star system, and these important questions related to Big Bang theory and singularity concepts, what is string theory, and what Einstein said, what Stephen Hawking's important directions about the Goldilocks zone. All these things, as the time would allow, we will discuss. So please do not miss tomorrow's lesson. Now about the important article regarding Israel. As we had discussed this issue, that rise of ultra nationalistic fever is there in Israel, and because of that Netanyahu managed to win this election again, and for the 5th term he has been selected here. But some issues remain. Our approach has been neutral in this area. We recognized Palestine also, we gave support to Israel's cause also, and we have very good relations with both these important areas and countries, you may say, because the recognition of Palestine as a country is not there under United Nations, but we recognize it as a country. But the regional issues are there, geographical issues are there, territorial issues are there, and the most problematic issue of ethnic cleansing or the ethnic purity, that is being propagated on the political platforms in the country of Israel. that is really against the ethos of peace in this world. And the support by leaders like Trump, that are also very we may say concerning in a sense, because Barack Obama, he never supported these ethnic purity ideas of Israel, and he never supported these kind of forceful occupations or some kind of dominance over the occupied territories and the people who are living there, and those are Palestinians, Arabian Muslims. So this agenda was not supported by Barack Obama, and he was one of the greatest leaders of America in modern times. But as he has gone, his 2 terms are over. Trump has been there, and Trump's moves are really problematic for the world order. So we will discuss that, and some geography details we will also discuss, and some happenings and important learnings from this issue we will discuss here. So let's start. This is the ground report that comes every Saturday. That is not important for us. This article, I have explained to you all the writings, all the things I have highlighted here. So you should go through this particular article. The text you must read here. The important background and the context learning I have discussed about, and how these things became possible. What is the way ahead for us with the help of these learnings, that you should read about. Next, the grim future. Why he says grim future? Sukumar Muralidharan is the writer here. He says criminal indictment imminent on charges of corruption. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pulled off a 4th consecutive win in general elections to the Knesset on April 9. Means corruption charges were there, and the opposition was saying that Trump ran a propaganda. He made a video supporting Netanyahu, and he said Golan Heights should be recognized as the territory of Israel, and the annexation of 1981, that was legitimate one. Now see, what is the issue with Israel? We have been hearing a lot in the last 3-4 years about Israel, and Israel has become one of our ideal states, because you see, it is the issue of ideology. As I told you earlier also, that ultra-nationalistic features and security issues in the political discourse, these things are common between India and Netanyahu's Israel. And the way Israel adopts here, now it is talking about ethnic purity and all. It is not allowing the refugees from Gaza area, which are Arabian Muslims and Palestinians, and it says that Jewish character would be disturbed, and we cannot allow that. That means it is dividing people, and it is actually spreading a message that Jews are superior one and Palestinians are not equal to us. The same thing was said by Hitler for Jews, that Aryans are the best race and Jews are the worst people on this earth. Now the same country who actually lived this torture, and because of that torture they had to leave Germany, and these Jews state as Israel was established. In the same country, the talks of intolerance and talks of high-headedness and talks of extremities, when these messages are being spread, and a powerful country like America that is supporting this cause, and domestic politics is totally influenced by the international agendas, then these issues are really problematic. Because Mr. Netanyahu's campaign rhetoric since his debut in politics was often called out for incitement against the Palestinians. He excelled himself this time, vowing in the last days of the campaign to never allow a Palestinian state and to annex parts of the West Bank. Means totally a hard line he is taking here, and wooing the voters on the nationalistic line, security lines, and the lines that we are the best one, we are the bravest one, our soldiers are the best one, and we can make anything possible, we can defeat anyone here. And the issues of morality, issues of the peace processes, issues of wrong occupation and all, which world knows about, those things are not having any kind of value, and all other corruption charges and all things are going behind that rhetoric. That is problematic. Bigger problematic thing is that now the world is moving towards a particular phase where some likewise countries and ideologically similar countries, and it used to happen before the World War One and Two, that happened. So on the same lines this world is moving, where ideologically likewise countries, they are supporting each other's domestic politics by international supports, and some leaders are being given awards and all, and some leaders are supported the way Trump made a publicity video for Netanyahu, and it was just before the elections. So these things are problematic. And when in the domestic politics, when the corruption issues, the employment issues, the poverty issues, the development issues, they are pushed behind by these important nationalistic, ultra-nationalistic and security rhetorics, then these are symptoms of destruction, because they will provoke, and provocation will lead towards world wars, nothing else. This world has seen these things. That means always when we learn out of the history that we should move towards a peace process, and fightings or these rhetorics, they do not help in the end. In the end, we come to the negotiating table. Why we cannot live with cooperation? Why we cannot put things which are belonging to peace on priority? Why we are putting our important political existences on priority? And why we are talking about the security issues in our election campaigns? Why we are so desperate to remain in political positions? That is the main agenda here, and that is really a wrong tendency that is being developed in this world. And here it says that the geography, as we can say here, Gaza, Golan Heights, West Bank, these are the occupied territories by Israel after 1967 Six Days War. Green line is separating the West Bank, and you see the controversial no man's land, and the Jerusalem city is located here on the important border of West Bank and Israel. And that is controversial because it is the important religious center for three Abrahamic religions: Muslims, means Islam, and Christianity and Judaism. Now it has been made political when Trump says that from Tel Aviv we are shifting our embassy to Jerusalem, and it should be considered as a political center and the capital of Israel, and that is not recognized by the whole world. That is problematic. And you see in the West Bank, that was considered as a Palestinian territory. In Palestinian territory also 60% of the area is called Area C, where you can see in the blue color Area C is there, and that is occupied by and administered by Israel. And the rest part, where cities like Ramallah, which is said to be the de facto capital of Palestinian region, Hebron city, Jericho city, Ramallah, these are important centers of this Palestinian authority, and Gaza is also a Palestinian territory. Hamas group is there, and that supports the cause of Palestinians, and it opposes Israel in all possible ways. They have their own military groups and all, and Hamas won election in 2006 in this particular Gaza strip. It could not win election in West Bank. Fatah is an important group that is opposing Hamas in the same region, in Gaza region. But anyhow, Hamas won this election, and now this peace process was started in 2007 by US mainly, but that was more a rhetorical one, not a real peace process, and that is why it could not be pushed further. And now, from both the sides, hard lines are taken, and the issues of occupied territories and showing dominance and creating colonies in occupied territories and all, that has been objected by whole world, but it is supported by Trump now. That means they are inviting some very tough steps, and they are inviting a lot of disturbance in the area, and religion is also mixed here. And you see with the religion these days, wrong interpretations are there, like terror groups are there. So Islam religion, that is most of the times said to be related with the terrorism aspect, and that is totally a wrong interpretation. But now this issue of Islamophobia, that is spread to whole world, and that is pushed by these extremist ideology having people only. And you can say Trump openly because it talks about it openly. We know that religion has nothing to do with the terrorism, and Islam religion has nothing to do with these terror groups, because they do not have any religion. These are extremist groups. They just want to create fear. And the countries like America, whole world knows that what are their important tactical ways and what are the international agendas which are there posed by them, proxy wars and all, everything is there. So they are no saints, but these issues are so sensitive because religion is also mixed with that, and the agenda is based on religion here, and that is the problematic thing. And from religion the ideology is getting stronger and stronger, and now the likewise ideologies which are having roots in religion, and hate is there, intolerance is there. These things are getting stronger and stronger in this world, and these are most problematic things. Recently we saw an incident in New Zealand. You see, in terror attacks, many things the world has seen, and we have this particular pain in our hearts that terrorism stays in this world, but the roots are political one. And the incident which happened, that was totally based on these provocations. That person said that I am a follower of Trump and I appreciate his efforts, and that was totally the attack on Muslims and all, and the innocent people, those were attacked. That was the problem. So the developments in this world and the connections between these ideologies and some particular forces that are rising, and they have intolerance in their basis, in their roots. So these are problematic things. It is not just the election of Netanyahu, and it is not just the rise of Israel's military establishment and the support by Americas. It is the issue of ideology that is problematic. The way it is being developed, that is problematic here. And that is why the writer says that the grim future in Israel, because Israel used to be an ideal country, it progressed a lot, and it has been inspirational for India also. Barak 8 missile system, AWACS and all we have taken from Israel. A so small a country, but the progress is extreme. But the US support has been there. But the problem is that US stance is changing, and that is all because the Trump came. And we say the Trump because Trump is a phenomena now in this world. And the issue is that world is divided over this phenomena. Some people totally support Trump's ideology, some people totally against that. Even half of the Americans, they are against Trump. And here Trump is at the center, and this ideological issue of a tolerance, that is at the center, and Netanyahu wins the election. Instead of these allegations of corruption, he wins the election. That is problematic, and India has a lot to do with this particular thing, because some things are similar in Indian election process. There are many allegations, but all the talks are related to the nationalistic and security issues. Okay, and emotions are provoked here, and these are related to our nationalistic and security issues, territorial issues, and the conflicted issues, where security forces are used for the political campaigns, and they are openly flouting these model code of conduct. Leaders are given awards and all, that is a good thing, but at what time, and why some particular type of messaging, why some particular type of discourses we see in social media. So these are things which are concerning. Okay, so these developments are important, and there is a thin line between the understanding and between sliding with these opinions. So that you must understand, as you being an important exams aspirant, and you will be a very important future administrators. So this responsible manner, you should understand these facts, you should observe, and the particular maturity of your thoughts that would be developed after that, that is going to be very important here. Okay, so these are not simple issues. A particular issue in Sudan, where President Bashir, that has become the victim of military coup, and now he has been overthrown from there. He will not be extradited. But the problem is that in those countries where education is less, people are emotionally provoked very easily. People are blind followers, and they do not see logic in equality, and they do not act in a way where democracy and democratic values are supported, equality is supported. They are more behind following and anyhow capturing power. So these kind of countries, they are struggling with these coups and instabilities and all kinds of troubles. The countries like Central African Republic, Sudan, Congo, all these countries are struggling with these issues. And in these countries, the terror groups and all, they are very, very active, and nationalistic rhetorics are all over these countries. So we must learn from the world's experiences also, and it is all running into a particular step. First, some the ways are developed where education and equality, all these concepts, they become weaker and weaker. Then some hero-like leaders, they would come, they would promise a lot of things, they would promise for equality, democratic processes, but actual aim is the political existence. After some years, when people are ardent followers, blind followers, after some time their trust is broken, but they become very weak till that time, and after that they cannot do anything. After that they protest heavily, civil wars are there, military coups are there, and again this process goes on. So always we have the responsibility that whatever we have in our hands, in the name of freedom, in the name of a democracy, we should protect that. Every day we have a responsibility. In every instance, in every election, we have this responsibility that we uphold these democratic processes, and we always observe these democratic symptoms, that nothing is going wrong with our democracy. So we are also going through a particular phase of transition, and things have been very, very nice here, and we fortunately did not experience these kind of coups and these kind of troubles in our country after independence. But some issues remains. Society looks divided today, but these things do not develop into some kind of ethnic purity cleansing or some kind of coups and all. That we must take care of, and we should always note down symptoms that in which phase we are moving in. Okay, so that's important. Next, T-Board to discuss industry roadmap. T-Board was established in 1954 according to Tea Act in 1953. Headquarters there in Kolkata. India is the second largest producer of tea in the world. China is the first one, and many issues are there. Organic tea manufacturers, they are being supported. Organic tea is more in use today. When they are using leaves, then it becomes the green tea. When they are using the dried leaves, which are normally dried, then curled, then before that they are thrashed, then they are curled. So CTC process is associated with the tea. Okay, so CTC process was also discovered by Britishers only when they were here in British India. India did not discover tea. China was the country where as a medicinal drink it was discovered, and then it was brought here in India by Britishers. And in Assam and in Darjeeling areas they grew it, and Assam tea, Darjeeling tea, these are the famous world famous teas in this world, and we are exporting a lot of amount of tea, but we are the biggest consumer of tea also. And tea is the national drink of India, not officially, but the de facto symbol of India, you can say it is tea. Every time is a tea time in India. So these details are important. India is the second largest producer here. Next, Nanak Singh's poem Khuni Vaisakhi. There may be a question in the prelims, who wrote this poem? Nanak Singh. His grandson Navdeep Suri, he is an important diplomat from India, and he is promoting this. Khuni Vaisakhi is the classic work of protest poetry by late Nanak Singh, translated by his grandson Navdeep Suri. Okay, and Navdeep Suri is ambassador to UAE now, and this question is very important because it was written in Gurumukhi script, the Punjabi language, the Gurumukhi script, and it was banned before independence. After that, it went into some ignorance, and after Gyani Jail Singh, he became president of India. Then he brought it to the light again, and it became famous again. So that's important. Next, these are the important MCQs. Try to write their answers, try to look for the additional data, additional important informations, and in the prelims, these questions, these compilations of these questions is going to be very, very important. And this is the group where I have given my Telegram channel's link also, and the PDF I'm also uploading on this channel. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Seni, and ready for the tomorrow's lesson. That's Sunday.